Good morning, Bande Matram. Welcome all of you. So this morning we are having a nice topic that is on human life. So on human life, this is the common story of all human life we are going to discuss, and to some extent we'll try to infuse the objective of yoga in human life to some extent in the final phase of the discussion. So this is the topic which we have chosen for this morning is on human life. Ordinarily we know we are the human beings and we have got a life. So how we are leading, what is the purpose, and actually what is how really we are leading it right now, and what is expected to be, what is the objective of our yoga, and where we have to reach in the process of evolution finally, and what is the apex. That is the point of discussion right now, and we will quote it from mother now right now. Finally we will try to give the obviously the final touch from Sri Aurobindo. Interesting topic, very excellent topic rather. So we are going to discuss the topic discussion on human life. Mother, first let us quote from Sri Aurobindo interestingly, and the topic of discussion initially we'll try to know what really the life really is. So mother quotes in one of the message. Mother has messaged us beautifully. When you are conscious of the whole world at the same time, then you can become conscious of the divine. So unless otherwise, two things are interrelated in life. Mother quotes, when you are conscious of the whole world at the same time, conscious of the whole world at the same time, then only you can become conscious of the divine. So to be conscious of the divine, it is fundamentally it is the pre-requirement to be conscious of the whole life. Again, we are having a beautiful topic from mother, of course. Is the aim of life to be happy? That is the question being asked by a disciple to know, is the aim of life to be happy? So mother answers in a very interesting manner, very technically. Mother answers, this is just putting things topsy and turvy. This is the thing. This is just the thing. Things putting. This is just putting the things tersy and turvy. The aim of human life. That is what here in the course. The aim of human life. Mother quotes, the aim of human life is to discover the divine and to manifest it. Two things, the object of the human life, the aim of the human life is twifold. That is, first to discover the divine, then to manifest it. Naturally, this discovery leads to happiness, discovery and manifestation. So initially, mother course, these are the by aims of the human life. Naturally, this discovery leads to the happiness, but the happiness is a consequence. This happiness, discovery of the divine leads to happiness, but this happiness is a consequence, not an aim of life. Then it is the mistake of taking a mere consequence for the aim of life. Discover, mother initially quoted, two aims are there, naturally to discover the divine and to manifest it. Then from the discovery part, mother quotes, discovery leads to happiness, but happiness is a consequence, not the aim of itself. And it is this mistake of taking this mere consequence for the aim of life that has been for the cause of most of the miseries which are affecting human life. So this happiness we have taken, that is all for us, but this happiness is only, it is a consequence, not happiness, but the gaining perfection. We are being interested in moving towards the perfection to get elevated in the process of transformation. That is what the aim, that is what the objective. Again we'll try to go to steer up in the very interestingly to know what is the real purpose. Then we'll come to the mother letter. Mother quotes about the human life. Sri Aurobindo will try to quote few lines from Sri Aurobindo. Life, not a remote, silent, or high uplifted, ecstatic beyond. So life is not a remote, silent, or high uplifted ecstatic beyond. Life alone is the field of our yoga. So here we can do everything. This is the base, and on which we can erect the structure of yoga. And life alone is the field of yoga. It is not a remote, silent, or high uplifted ecstatic beyond. This is the real place. Life alone is the field of yoga. Next, we'll go the transformation of the superficial, narrow, and fragmentary human way of thinking, seeing, and feeling, and being. So, mother course of the four type of things at a same way. In the transformation of our superficial, narrow, fragmentary, and human way of four things have been attached to the four parts of our action. Our superficial, narrow, and fragmentary human way of thinking, seeing, feeling, and being into a deep and wide spiritual consciousness. Superficial, narrow, and fragmentary human way of thinking, seeing, feeling, and being into a deep and wide spiritual consequence and an integrated inner and outer existence and of our ordinary human living is the divine way of life must be the central purpose. That is what the very central purpose of our human life. Again, I will try to put it beautifully. Life alone is the field of the yoga. It is not from the remain silent or high uplifted ecstatic beyond. Not nothing comes from beyond. Here, life alone is the field of yoga, and the transformation of our superficial, narrow, and fragmentary three things: superficial, then narrow and fragmentary human way of what action, thinking, seeing, feeling, and being into a deep and wide spiritual consciousness. That is what very great transformation, great way of changing, and an integrated inner and outer existence and of our ordinary human being living into the divine way of life must be the central purpose. That is what the transformation and the fusion and the elevation, that is the towards perfection. That's what many things are there. They are being fused here. Second, also we can get another quotation from Sri Aurobindo. It is, of course, another. It is again interesting. The ancients regard this life as an occasion for the development of the national, ethical, and ascetic, the spiritual being. The ancients, we know our ancient beings, regarded this life as an occasion for the development of the national, ethical, and ascetic three values: rational, ethical, and aesthetic values, the spiritual being. So this was a very much. It is a for the development of the spiritual being. It is an opportunity. That's what our ancient felt. Again, we'll find this love and the union, love and the unity. That's what Sri Aurobindo quotes on that way. In another very interesting format, Sri Aurobindo try to quote all true love and all sacrifice. Two things are there. All true love and all sacrifice are their essence of nature's contradictions of the primary egoism and its separative error. Very nice to observe, assimilate. All true love and all sacrifice are in their essence nature's contradictions of the primary egoism, nature's contradiction of its primary egoism and its separative error. It is her attempt to turn from necessary fast fragmentation towards the recovered oneness, from fragmentation towards the recovered oneness. That is what the her attempt, nature's attempt. All unity between second part, all unity between creatures is the essence of self-finding, a fusion with that from which we have separated and a discovery of oneself in others. That is what all unity. Initially, it was the law. Second, Mother Sri Aurobindo quotes on unity. So all unity between creatures in its essence, all unity between the creatures in its essence is a self-finding, a fusion with that from which the been separated, fusion from which it was separated, the union with that one, and a discovery of oneself in others. Discovery of oneself with others, that is the true unity, and that is the true essence. Again, what Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully: association is a vital and physical unity. because what lives and union, so many ways we define the yoga. Association is a vital and physical unity, but true unity is spiritual. Vital and physical unity is association, but a true unity is spiritual. Its sacrifice is a mutual self-giving and interfusion of our inner substance. That is what we must differentiate, and we must know the differentiation. That is the what the two thing to be known. Association is a vital and physical unity, but a true unity is spiritual. Its sacrifice is a mutual self-giving and interfusion of our inner substance. Interfusion of our inner substance and mutual self-giving. That is what the real sacrifice. Sri Aurobindo quotes. Again, we are going for the next step. Spiritual life, ordinary life and spiritual life. Ordinarily, we live in the ordinary consequence, ordinary matter, ordinary thoughts, ordinary process of living. Sri Aurobindo quotes the spirit, but actually, what really, how it is differentiated from the spiritual life. Again, Sri Aurobindo quotes spiritual life is the flower not of a featureless but a conscious and diversified oneness. That's what oneness and spiritual life is not the power of a featureless. It has got no feature, no existence, but a conscious and a diversified oneness. Each man has to grow into the divine. Each man, Mother not only quotes for our people who are sitting, and we feel proud that we are disciples of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, we are followers of the integral yoga. We are pursuing this yoga and we are superior or inferior, whatever is there, that ego is, anything, ego may be there. But thing is that Mother quotes, each man has to grow into the, of course, this is the quotation from Sri Aurobindo, right, from Sri Aurobindo we are quoting. Each man has to grow into the divine within himself. Divine within himself, each one has to grow. And through his own individual being, he has to grow into it. Again, comes the freedom and perfection. On that, Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully. Man's true freedom and perfection, not because Sri Aurobindo has quoted in Savitri, true freedom and true freedom was abhorred and hunted down. It is not there. Freedom, he asked, what needs to live in bonds. Liberation from what? Liberation from the bondage of the ignorance, inconscience, and falsehood. But thing is that here, beautifully steering the course, man's true freedom and perfection will come when the spirit within him bursts through the forms of mind and life, and winging above it to its own gnostic fiery heights of ether. So it has to get liberated from the ignorance, and it has to rise up to its gusting fiery heights of the ether, turns upon them, upon the light and the flame up to seize them and transform into the own image. Not only seize, it has to come out, it has to seize, and it has to transform to its own image. That is what the that is actually expected as per Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully. Again, Sri Aurobindo goes a step forward. Another step forward we find in Sri Aurobindo's right. We speak of the evolution of life in matter. We speak of the evolution of life in matter, the evolution of mind in matter, but the evolution is a word which merely states the phenomenon without explaining it. And many times we speak of the evolution of life in matter, evolution of mind in matter. In matter, we find the evolution of life and evolution of mind. But a true evolution, that is a word which merely states the phenomenon without explaining it. But still in the quotes, there seems to be no reason why life should not evolve out of the material elements or mind out of living forms. Here in the quotes and questions. This is why I don't find any reason. There is, it seems that it's to be for this, there seems no reason why life should not evolve out of the material elements or mind out of the living forms, unless we accept the Vedantic solution of life is already involved in matter. Vedantic solution, we know life already involved in matter and mind. If it is involved in matter and mind, naturally there is a chance, and of course that it will come out of the matter and mind in life, because in essence matter is the form of held life. Again, still in the quotes, matter is the form of veiled life in the forms of veiled life, and the life a form of veiled consciousness. Beautifully, with this point, this line to be noted, we Vedantic solution of life, what it is. Life already is involved in matter and mind. life already involved in matter and mind. In life, because its essence, matter is the form of veiled life and life a form of veiled consciousness. So emergency is possible. It can come out. So this evolution, this evolution, it is worthy. We can go that way. Again, we'll try to quote Sri Aurobindo again. To discover the spiritual being in himself is the main business of the spiritual man. What is the main objective and main business of spiritual man? We are not concentrating more and of course tracing more on the ordinary people. To discover the spiritual being in himself is the main business of the spiritual man, and to help others towards the same evolution is the real service to the rest. Again, number one, main business of spiritual man, that is to discover the spiritual being. Again, second, to help others towards the same evolution in it is a real service to the race. To help the race to move towards the same spiritual discovery of the self spiritual being, this is the great help to the race. Till that is done, the outward help to succor and to elevate, but nothing or very little more is possible. It is never helpful, not or it is essential. The true essential thing is that to discover the spiritual being in himself. Second, to help others towards the same evolution with the real service to the rest. दो काम एक ही साथ करना है, इसको समझना है, ये काम करना है. Again, we'll find a beautiful question was put to the Divine Mother. What does inner tapasya mean exactly? Inner tapasya. So we know antar tapasya, inner tapasya. Actually, इसका मतलब क्या है? What is the real meaning? Mother, of course, inner tapasya. Ask question. It means the tapasya for the character and for changing the psychological movements of the being. It is means the tapasya for the character and for the changing the psychological movements of the being, precisely to conquer the desire, conquer the passions, overcome egoism, get rid of fears. That is the inner tapasya. What is really inner tapasya meant? That is what here in the course, mother course really. We'll find it for changing. It means tapasya for the character and for changing the psychological movements of the being. Two ways. For the character and for changing the psychological movements of the being, precisely to conquer the desire. Second, conquer the passion. Overcome, number three, overcome the egoism. Number four, get rid of fears. This is the inner tapasya. No fear, no egoism, no desire, and no passion. Outer tapasya, when there is an inner tapasya, then simultaneously come the outer tapasya, is all the ascetic or hatha yogic methods. Ascetic or yogic methods to make use of the physical means for one's yoga in an outer tapasya. But the inner tapasya consists of attending one's character and trying to change it. Attending the character and trying to change it, that is the purpose of the inner sadhana. But here in outer tapasya, this is ascetic or hatha yogic methods. It makes use of the physical means and the one's yoga in the outer tapasya. Then again, we'll find when are you conscious of the whole world at the same time, then you will become conscious of the divine. That is what already we have quoted from the mother. Then again, we are going for Sri Aurobindo. He has quoted beautifully couple of lines that you can see. The fall of man from the great height does not prove that he never can be reached. He can never reach the great height. There is a fall. From the great height, he has fallen into this darkness, into this obscurity, into the material consciousness. And Mother Sri Aurobindo quotes, it does not prove that he never reached the great height. So he does not prove that the fall of man from the great height does not prove that he never reached a great height. He was there, from there he has reached, and there is of course another chance is there, not chance, definitely there is a certitude is there, you have to gain back and evolve to that height. To turn towards the divine is the only truth in life. What is the truth? To turn towards the divine is the only truth in life. Again, Mother, again we can read the mother. Normally, a question was put. Normally, I don't feel anything about the material objects, whether they are broken or lost. That is what the question put to mother. Mother quotes. That is wrong. Not to take care of the material things which one uses is the sign of inconscience and ignorance. Material things, objects you are using, if you are not caring for it, it is the sign of inconscience and ignorance. Again, you have no right to use any material object whatever you don't take care of it. If you don't care of the material things you are using, you don't have the right to use. Again, you must take care of it, not because you are ahead attached to it. You must take care of it because not because that you are attached to it, but because it manifests something of the divine consciousness. Because these material objects, they manifest something of the divine consciousness. For that you have to take care of. So three things. Number one, if you are not taking care, that is the sign of inconscience and ignorance. Second, if you don't care with them, you don't have the right to use, then you must take care of it because you are attached to it, but because it manifests something that is divine consciousness that you have to accept. Finally, we'll come to the last phase. To be young is to live in the future. To be young is to live in the future, not to go back to the past. To be young is to live in the future. To be young is to live, always ready to give up what we are in order to become what we must be. What we were and what we are. In that atmosphere, in that surrounding only we are living. But thing is that to be young is one must be ready to give up what we are in order to become what we must be. Again, to be young is never to accept the irreparable. So, anything that can't be repaired, you must never accept it. And with the last word, it is from Sri Aurobindo. Life is the field of a divine manifestation, not yet complete. It is incomplete. Life is a field of divine manifestation because we know the purpose of life, to know the divine, to live, to become the divine, and to manifest the divine. But the thing is that it is incomplete, not complete. So life, it is given, it is a blessings, and it is given to you. It is a field of divine manifestation, not yet complete. So this is the life, this is the purpose, this is the object. With this, we have to be very serious, and of course, we have to be very much conscious. And as accordingly, we have to make a move. Thank you. Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.